Hallelujah.
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 Yah Elohim. We Elohim Abotim. Elohim Abraham, Elohim Yitzchak, we Elohim Yaakov. Ha'el HaGibor, Ha'el HaNorah, Ha'el HaGonem Kol Dabar. Wagam Ken Ha'el HaGomer Kol Dabar. Ataha Ose. Wagam Ken Atalo Ne Eserta. Ki Ataha Bore. Wagam Ken Lo Nib Reata. Yehovah Elohim. We Elohim Abotim. Shamana Tefilati. Shamana Tefilotenu. Shamana Bebakusha et Tefilota. Wetikwa Bel Kulan Bebakusha Yehovah Zeba'u. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Shamana et Za'akwat Amka Israel. Wetir in Bebakusha. Et Ko Ha Bokim Ba'amka Israel. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Shub Lanu et Safak Tenu. Shub Lanu et Halbutenu. Shub Lanu et Lishonenu. Shub Lanu et Ko Debarim Atobim. Asha Atana Tata La Abotenu. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Old Pa'am Anatnu Shoalim Oka. Liyot Itanu. Liyot Im Amka Israel. Hayot Im Oka. Ubne Israel Ashahim Beburuk Aleaka. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Salah Lanu. Kasha Anatnu Shabarno et Miswoteka. We et Ko Kukweka. Wagam Ke Ko Toroteka. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Tina I Mishpokotnu. Wagam Ke Auna Tishka. Et Hadbari. Hadaim. Ashel Oibenu Him Roxi La Asot La Amka. El Yerushaka Amka Israel. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Tiskoriki Anatnu Afar Wagam Ke Anatnu Nakalateka. Meko Hamishpoko Haaret. Yehovah Elohim Israel. Tigrom et Kohan Barim Hatobim Asher Diborta El Yirmiyahu. Wagam et Yashayahu. Wagam et Yekesquel. Wagam King Ko Hanabia Asher Atad Diborta El Obadiah. Meleka Olam Bebakusha. Tir et ki amzor ba arzaka. Be eretz Yerushalayim. Be eretz Kebron. Be eretz Be'er Shiva. Be eretz Be'elekem Yehovah Elohim Nu. Wa'anaknu b'nei Israel ham shamim be'eretz ha'ma'arav hazeh be'eretz Kam u'eretz Shem u'eretz Yafet u'eretz kol ha'yimei ha'aretz. Hallelujah.
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 Amen. Amen.
Amen.
King. So luckily about that. Giving honor and praise to the Creator, the Maker of heaven and earth. We are getting into this particular teaching here. This is called Hebrew lesson number 7. All right, the aspect of reading and nouns. So that way we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about for edification purposes. Last week, brothers and sisters, we went over the aspect, we went over the fact of the prefixes and the suffixes, as well as getting in depth with the vowels. As stated last week, also will be stated this week, there is nothing that is said that is just said in vain. All right, concerning this kind of thing. So you may want to even take notes from what's being stated. You may want to sit there and pause and rewind and go back and so forth and so on. All right, so want that to be noted for edification purposes. We want to point something out, that there is a formula to how this is going. All right, you have the alphabet, the vowels. All right. Then you become a reader. All right. So want that pointed out for reason and purposes. First, you go over the alphabet as we did, the vowels. Once you understand those two, you then become a reader. You graduated to becoming a reader. Now, let's just look at this real quick, right? Even if you look at this, Aleph and Bet, and under the Aleph, you have a patat. Once you say Ab, you're reading. Now, it may not be in the aspect, brothers and sisters, of, you know, going in and breaking down the coming together of pronouns and verbs, and this is the past tense and the past participle and the qual stem, which is similar to the nifal passive. It may not be that aspect. However, at the same token, We want it to be known for edification purposes. Once you understand the alphabet and the vowels, you have graduated to become a reader. So for those who listen to lesson 1, 2, 3, and 4, give yourself a clap if you study those lessons, because you have then graduated to becoming a reader in the language. All right? Glory to the Most High. Now, once you get that aspect, you then, okay, continuing on, you get a dictionary. All right? Now, once you get from the aspect of the dictionary, you then build your vocabulary. All right? So you have the alphabet of vowels. Once you learn that, clap your hands. If you listen from lesson 1 through 4, you graduated to becoming a reader. All right? Then you get from that to the dictionary, and then you build your vocabulary. Now, preferably, I use the Ben Yehuda English Hebrew English Dictionary, which you can get from Barnes and Nobles, which you can get from online, but you can use the dictionary according to your comfort. This class, basically, when we deal with vocabulary, as we went over last year when we did the Hebrew classes, Hebrew number 16. You may want to look that up on the same channel, where it says Hebrew class number 16, even though we're redoing it this year, all right, into next year. Last year, I explained how the Hebrew dictionary is read. All right, so I just want that to be noted. You can still refer to those old lessons yourself. Okay, now, giving honor and glory to Yah, creator and maker of heaven and earth. Your vocabulary, you're going to want to know if you are an artist, you draw. You're going to want to know how to say pen, pencil, draw, paper, sketch, picture. These are things you're going to want to know, all right? If you are a chef, if you're into cooking, all right, you're going to want to know words like sir, which is pot, the word tanor, which means stove, all right? You got the word ish, which means fire, the word bishel, which means to cook, all right? You got the word mazon, which means food, all right? These are things, if you're a chef, you're going to want to know because it's going to appeal to you more in your vocabulary. If you are a painter, let's say you paint houses and so forth, you're going to want to know how to say paint, the colors, brush, and so forth. Because from there, you can build your vocabulary and grammar, which we're going to explain in 1 second in that regard. Now, once you begin to build your vocabulary as stated, you will get into your grammar. All right? So now, let's say a person is into painting, right? The Hebrew word for color is zelah. All right? So you're going to want to know how to say Edom is red, Tekelit is blue, charcoal is black, Laban is white, and so forth and so on. You all right? So you want to know then how those things come into fruition. All right? Adjectives in Hebrew follow the noun. Now we already explained that the word like zlah means color. All right? So you will have it to where it is said zela Edom. All right, color red. All right, the adjective follows the noun. Now, let's say if you're into the aspect of construction, all right, you're going to want to know how to say the things that apply to that. Plaster. Here is the word for plaster. It slips my mind, sorry, because you see it in the book of Ezekiel. All right, so you're going to want to know how to say words like wall, which is the word koma, the word floor, which is ritzpah. All right, we'll explain ritzpah as we go along in this lesson. All right, you're going to want to know how to say ceiling, which is tikra. You're going to want to know how to say the word window, which is kalon. All right, these are things that whatever appeals to you, whatever you like, learn that vocabulary first. All right, if you're a person such as myself, not to be disrespectful, who likes to eat, you're going to want to know how to say words such as food, feed me, give me, please, and so forth, because that's what's going to appeal to you, because that's what you're into. If you're into nursing, you're going to want to know how to say refuah means medicine. All right? You're going to want to know the word hara means pregnant woman. You understand? You're going to want to know that the word rofe means doctor. All right? So these are things We want to be noted for edification purposes. All right? So now once you begin at that point to get your grammar up, you can use a grammar book. All right? You will then, brothers and sisters, get to the aspect of speaking. All right? We want that to be pointed out for reason and purposes. Now, once you, brothers and sisters, get into the aspect of speaking, it just builds from there. You'll start to sit there and then talk about things you don't like. You'll learn those vocabulary things. You understand? You will then know that the word, for instance, not to be harsh, ones means rapist. Rokzeach means murderer. All right? Ganab means thief. All right? Mena'af means adulterer. All right? So these are things that you're going to then sit there and get into once you get into the linguistics aspects yourself. All right? So, as stated, there are steps to this thing. We're going to go in order. As we went over 2 weeks ago, well, actually last Shabbat before yesterday, brothers and sisters, during the teaching, there was a kung fu flick in which the student wanted to avenge a matter. And his teacher was saying, "You're not ready yet. Study some more. You're not ready yet. You're not at that level for this kind of person." You understand? So the teacher beat the students behind just so the student will begin to see, then you have to sit there and step up to a certain level. All right? You're not going to be let to go out there by a respectful more or a respectful mora out there, and then you wind up, no offense intended, making a fool of yourself. That's not going to sit there and be happening from a responsible more or responsible mora. He or she is going to ask you, what level of Hebrew are you at? Then once you begin to know and state, okay, I'm a beginner. Okay, let's start with the alphabet. Okay, I'm advanced. I know how to read already. Okay, let's sit there and get a dictionary. You got that. Okay, let's get the grammar. Now, once you get all of this as stated, you then become a speaker. So these are things we want to point out. The next step, brothers, sisters, and elders included after becoming that is you may want to, for your own self, get what is referred to as a lexicon. Once you get that, you then begin to learn the biblical aspect of certain things. Now, I want to give a cheat sheet. When I wrote my book, Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68, I did cite the lexicon in order to be able to explain Deuteronomy 28, verse 68 about the Mizrayim coming from the word Matzor, which comes from the Hebrew word Metzor, which comes from the Hebrew word Zor, which comes from the root word Zur. You're not going to get that from a dictionary like that, per se. You understand? So that's when you get into the lexicon thing in that regard. So let me have that to be erased, and then we can go on in this particular aspect. All right. On this channel, we went over Deuteronomy 28, verse 68 with the whole Mizrayim thing, so we need not rehash that in that particular case. What we're going to go over, brothers and sisters, giving thanks and honor to the Most High, is this is called the aspect of reading and nouns. Now, we stated earlier, right? If you have a word, even such as this, the aleph making no sound, this being the patak making the ah sound, and this letter being bet, that's ab, meaning what? Father. You're already reading. Once you can do that, you're a reader. Because you know the alphabet and the sound that it makes and the vowels. All right? So if you can see that, then you'll be able to sit there and in time, if you keep on studying, I promise you, all right, to be able to say this word right here. All right? Yerushato. Yerusha means inheritance. Yerushato means his inheritance. All right? So this is something we want to point out for evidence purposes. Once you begin to know and understand that particular thing, you will begin to see what that's talking about in that particular regard. All right? So, clap your hands if you have already graduated from the aspect of even wanting to tune into this channel. Thought I was going to say a reader, huh? No. The fact of the matter is this. If you have enough concern to watch this, we're giving thanks to the Most High for your attendance. All right? As the brother Chief Yashar says here after Shabbat, nobody gets paid for what we do. Shema doesn't on a off camera hit me off like, yeah, here's these 20s right here, thank you for the class. That doesn't happen off camera. Keeping it 100. We're gonna keep it a me'ah, all right? The Hebrew word for buck is the word mizuman, which means like the buck, like the cash. So keeping it honest, keeping it real, all right? The Hebrew word for buck in that regard is mizuman, all right? But keeping it honest, as the brother Chief Yashar points out after Shabbat, we ask the people for donations via PayPal and so forth and so on, because as stated, nobody gets paid for teaching in here. You understand? There is no secret meeting where all of the people who contribute to bringing forth the services, and here's your cut, and here's your cut. That doesn't happen after Shabbat. That doesn't happen. We have a secret meeting Thursday night, and we all come together when they watching the people teaching the Torah class and so forth, and we here dividending your money. That doesn't happen. So this is why one of the things we want to point out for edification purposes. Another thing we want to point out, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful or nothing like that, we do not monetize the YouTube channels that we do here. Why? Because when you're dealing with monetization with YouTube, yeah, you get your little dimes and everything at the end of the month and so forth and so on, depends on how many views you get. But at the same token, when we're saying what? Todah, Yah, Hallelujah, these we calling on the Most High. So if you have a monetized video and so forth, and they sitting up there talking about shrimp, as one video does, you got the aspect that them talking about pork, the other white meat. You got them talking about homosexuals and lesbians, and then you're going to turn around and say we're going to use that to promote teaching this. No, can't do that in the house of Yisrael. You understand? These are things we want to sit there and promote for edification purposes. All right. Now let me give an example of what I'm talking about. This book you see right here, Deuteronomy 20, did the Torah come from the culture of Tameri? You can get this on Amazon. Now, this is not to toot my own horn or anything of that sort. I do not have them on sale on the Shabbat. When Friday evening comes in, 5 p.m., because it's the winter or the later part of the year on the Gregorian calendar, so the hours change so the sun goes down earlier. What I personally do, brothers and sisters and elders included, is I take my book listed off of Amazon and off of CreateSpace so you can't buy the book on the Shabbat. Then when Shabbat ends, I put the book back online for sale. I'm not comfortable having people online buying a book while I'm teaching or listening or observing with everyone else the Shabbat day. Certain things, every dollar ain't a good dollar. Well, I just want to get that paper. Know when to cast stones away and know when to gather. On Shabbat, that is the time in which you don't gather the manna. That's not the time you gather the money. Teach. This is what we want. Every dollar is like, I'm going to just get this and get that. Know when to just say, lo hayo, not today. You got 6 days to sit there from so-called Sunday to so-called Friday to sit there and have your books out. You understand? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? So therefore, in this place, well, another thing, giving glory to the Most High, not monetizing the videos, and for another thing is you don't want to be teaching and then have that be a source of income.
What?
Because as we stated, we don't have it to where we're getting paid for this. All right? So this is something we want to have for reasoning purposes. All right? The books that are sold online, part of it goes into the camp as stated, the book in regards to the New Testament. When people send the money, I then in time, when it accumulates to a certain amount, I then pass it over into Shema's PayPal. That's been going on for a little while now. All right, so these are things we want to talk about. You take some and you give some. All right, that's where it boils down to at. You don't sit there and have a talent and a blessing and just say, Ekwak, 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 I will take, and you do not do the aspect of no tame or give. You understand? This is something we want to point out for reason and purposes in the house of Israel. All right? So, with that extended introduction, let's now get into, brothers and sisters and elders included, the actual class. This is called, as stated, the aspect of reading and nouns. So, a noun is a person, a place, or a thing. So, let's look at, brothers and sisters, this noun right here. the letter Yod, the letter Dalet. All right? This spells, brothers and sisters, Yad. Yad, all right, means hand. All right? I want to rewrite it. It looks like a castle. All right? You have the Yod and the Dalet. All right? Means hand. Once you understand that Yod makes the Y sound, and the Patak, some people may have a qualms with that, makes the I sound, and the Dalet makes the D sound. Once you put it together, saying Yad, you have graduated to becoming a reader. Clap your hands for yourself. So these are things we want to point out for reason and purposes. All right, so let's explain when we say the aspect of nouns and reading, because I want people to be able to see, even before lesson 10, you have become a reader. So it's not like, you're just going to go step by step and play people as if they're slow. We're going step by step and showing people how easy Hebrew is. This is part of the goal in that regard. So let's look at this right here. All right, you have, all right, Yad, which means hand. All right, then you have, that's just an arrow, Yadi, which means my hand. All right, so let's understand something. The E aspect at the sound of the end of a noun shows my or mine. All right, Yad, hand. Yadi, my hand. All right, so these are things we want to just go over for evidence purposes. Another thing to point out, brothers and sisters, as stated, what I'm saying in here, nothing that I'm saying is not important as far as going into the lesson itself. All right, then, now let's go on. It's to be pointed out that the possession in Hebrew is shown as part of the suffix of it. Last time we went over the fact of the letters that are prefixes and suffixes, and Yod happens to be both the prefix and the suffix. So in this regard, we have it to where the Dalet with the Kirik, with the Yod, that makes the E sound. Yadi means my hand. All right, so this is what we want to point out for evidence purposes, all right? Now, the next thing we want to get into in regards to this, brothers and sisters, is looking at this right here. You have the Yod, all right? And then the Dalet, again, okay? That being an arrow, just showing where it goes from one point to the next. The Yod, the Dalet again, then you have here the costal feet. All right? Now, Yad means hand, as we went over before. Yad ka means your hand. When you're speaking to a male, all right? Shows your or yours. Now, last week we explained with the costal feet that if it's at the end of a noun as a suffix, it's your. When you have the costal feet as a suffix at the end of a verb, it's you. These are not verbs that we're dealing with today. All right, so now Yad is hand, Yad ka, your hand. So that's when you're speaking to a male. So the E as the suffix, that's masculine or feminine. A woman would say my hand as Yadi. A man would say my hand as Yadi. A man would say to another male, or a female would say to a male, Yad ka, meaning your hand. All right? So this is what we want to point out for evidence purposes. Okay. The next thing we want to go over is the Yod, the Dalet, that being an arrow yet again. All right? You have Yad, Yadik, which means what? Ik, shows your or yours. When speaking masculine, feminine. M means masculine, F means feminine. All right? So, yad ka, your hand, when speaking to a male. Yad dek, your hand, when speaking to a female. Now, we want to rehash something real quick. You notice, brothers and sisters, with this that you see me in the blue? King. That's the shawah under the dollar. All right? We do what with the shawah? You join it with the sound before. That's part of reading Hebrew. That's why we went over that aspect of the alphabet and the vowels. The alphabet and the vowels, oh my gosh, again, yes. The alphabet and the vowels. So that way when we get to this point, I don't have to, and it doesn't have to be explained. Remember, this is the shawah because we've forgotten in the past. No, we're going over, blessed be the Most High, the way Kohen Mikael had advised me to do these lessons. Be more so meticulous in saying, review, go back, review, go back, review. So that way, when you get into this, you're thorough if you use a professional way, or a beast if you're using the street terminology. A lot of people are come to hear, not to sound arrogant, like your warrior Shai is a beast. But when Kohen Mikael is your Hebrew teacher and Chief Simeon is your history teacher, you ain't gonna come out not being a pit bull. You're not gonna come out not being a rock baller. You understand? When you have these kind of, blessed be Chief Simeon's memory, and may the Most High bless the works of Kohen Mikael. When you have these kind of men as your tutors and teachers in the house of Israel, you can't help but be able to sit there and get into the Hebrew like that. You can't help but to sit there and explain from Assyria when they took Israel 721 BCE, then Judah 701 BCE, then in the time of 609, Babylon along with the Medes defeated the Assyrians, then the aspect of Israel that was in the north and Judah that was in Assyria went to Babylon. Then Babylon in 586, after the situation of 597, when Jehoiachin, Zedekiah was then taken later on, 11 years later, into the Babylonian captivity. Then Babylon was defeated with Nabonidus losing to the Medes and the Persians in the year 538, 539 BCE. Then you had Cyrus that came up. Cambyses, his son, who was a fool, was the one that was the king in Egypt in Dynasty 27, all the way down to the time of Darius the third, when they lost to Alexander the third, aka Alexander the Great, in the Battle of Gaugamela. Then the Greeks came on to rule, and then you had the aspect of the Third Corinth battle in the year 168 BCE. Then you had the aspect of what happened in 146 BCE when the Greeks lost to the Romans. Then after that, you had the Romans come to power officially when they defeated Carthage and the Greeks. Then after the situation that happened with that, the Greeks losing to Rome, Rome coming into power, they did separated during the time of Maximilian and Maximus and Diocletian in 285 AD. Then you had the Eastern Roman Empire, aka Byzantine, that fell in 1453, and the Roman Western Empire that fell in 476. That's what happens when you sit under a man like Chief Simeon. All from the top of one's head. King. So these types of things. So when we speak about our teachers, this is what we're talking about, what we're saying. Right. All right, giving glory to the Most High. Now, one of the things we want to get into, brothers and sisters, Yad, Yadi, Yad, Yadka, Yad, Yadik. Your hand when speaking to a female. All right, so let's continue on in this particular aspect. Yeah. Brother, you got some paper towel with some water on it? Yeah. I appreciate your help. Now, on a human level, I want to give due respect to my brother and friend, Josiah Ben Levy. He's the person that, since we started the Hebrew classes last year, and then we redoing them this year, he's the person that's been behind the scene programming, letting it be known, letting it be shown how it operates. All right? He's the person that sits there and helps me set up the table before the class. He's the young brother, Toda, that sits there and gives me, as we see here, We're going over to write the board down. All right?
Hallelujah.
So these are the kinds of things that you must, on a human level, give respect to when the people put their hand and their initiative in things. And one thing you never do is forsake the people who help you. And you never forsake the people who seek your help. And you never, in the house of Israel, brothers and sisters, sit there and return an evil for a good.
Amen.
All right? So when those help you, remember them. Don't be like the guy in the book of Genesis who forgot Joseph and was like, oh yeah, I remember when you locked me up. There was somebody named the Hebrew, the Hebrew dude. Yeah. You understand? You don't do the prison style when you forget your peoples where you come from or with proof. No, you don't do that in Israel. You understand? And I say this, and I'm nowhere near, as the saying goes, able to tie his shoes. When you look at the aspect of David, now time had to bring him back. Like, oh, when you was running from Saul, you was like, yo, how come you don't send me? I don't do nothing wrong by him. And now you up there sleeping with another man's wife, you bodied her husband, you killed her husband. You're losing your way, Dawid. Come back. You understand what I'm saying? So sometimes, even though he was a ruler and a king, he had to be told, let's take it back to when you was on the run. Not when you was up there now on the throne and people paying tributary to you, such as Moab and Ammon and Edom. But now, I'm good. I got mine. Nah, don't forget what happened.
Y'all bring you forth and build you up.
That's why. See? You know why we keep Pesach? The Most High, when you have to eat the bitter herbs, you don't forget the bitter times that your people went through.
Amen.
So when people say, I don't care nothing about slavery, you ain't part of the scriptures in that regard. Because every year we're told to have the bitter herbs about what happened in the bitter times in the land of Israel. So you will never forget the captivity and oppression that your people went through. When the Amalekites attacked the Israelites, brothers and sisters, right? That was in Exodus 17. Over 300 years later, the Most High said, I remember what Amalek did to my people when I brought them out of the land of Egypt. Samuel, tell Saul to avenge Israel against the Amalekites. What did Saul do? He saved the women, he saved the king, he saved the animals. That's not what you're supposed to do. That's not what you're supposed to do. You understand? So it said that the Most High removed Saul from being king because you didn't sit there and do right by your people. So when the people start talking today about, oh, we don't care about what happened over 300 years ago, the Most High in Ecclesiastes, it says he requires the past. So you can't sit there and act like that doesn't matter. All right? So we want to point that out. It was over 300 years between the Exodus and the time of Saul. And the Most High said, what? I remember what Amalek did to Israel. So now you can see why they want to call it the Old Testament, tell you get over it, forget it, and so forth and so on. They don't want to sit there and forget the Holocaust. They don't want to sit there and forget the aspect of what happened when people got attacked. But you telling me, as the descendants of the oppressors, to tell me, the descendant of the oppressed, to sit there and forget it. The book that I read, it says, the God that I serve requires the past in the book of Ecclesiastes. So I can't forget. The Most High said in Deuteronomy 25, I'll teach cock. Do not forget what Amalek did unto the house of Israel. You understand? These are things that we want to be known. Or lo tishkak, thou should not forget. Don't sit there and, oh, well, times passed and we made up. No, there is no making up when they attack the feeble. So let's go on, brothers and sisters, in this particular regard. You have the word, all right? We're picking on and dealing with Yah. All right? Now, when you look at it in this regard, you have Yado. All right, so let's point a couple of things out, brothers and sisters. Yad is hand. Yado means his hand. So what are we going to say? That O shows his, as in possession. All right? So these are things we want to point out. Yad hand, yad do, his hand. So once you're able to see this, you remember you already graduated to becoming a reader after lesson number 4. So I don't necessarily think YAHD anymore if you follow the lessons in the past. Now, if you have to go back, it's still online. There's no reason to have to feel, well, this is too advanced, because we're keeping the old ones on the channel. So you can always go back and then catch up. It's at your own leisure and at your own timing. All right? So yad, yado, showing that O at the end of a noun shows it in possession to be his whatever. All right? We just happen to pick the word yad, meaning hand. All right? You have yad, also as stated, meaning hand. All right? Then you have show his.
That's the same thing.
Yado. Right. Okay. Remember when you have the dot over the vowel, it's the O sound.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Okay. The O sound, not the U sound. O. All right? So now when you look at this, you have shows her. So you have yad, still meaning as stated hand, and the word yada. Yada means her hand. Now I want to emphasize the dot, just show the dot that you see inside the hey signifies that you strengthen the sound of the hey. To show her whatever, her hand in this regard. Yad, hand, yada, yada, her hand. All right? For instance, the word ima means like mother or mommy, but ima means her mother. So the difference between ima and ima. So this is what we want to point out for evidence purposes. All right? As stated, when you're showing a possession in a noun in Hebrew, all right, the aspect shows in its suffix, not in its prefix. In English, you say his hand. His showing possession in English goes before the noun. In Hebrew, the possession, the aspect of showing what belongs to what goes as a suffix at the end. This is why we went over last week. We're doing a syllabus, remember? All right? There is a pattern to the teaching going on. Remember we went over last week the prefixes and the suffixes? Now you can see why, because we're dealing with the aspect of prefixes and suffixes.
Huge.
This lesson goes step by step. All right?
No reason.
So this is what we want to point out. Okay. Now, the next thing we got in dealing with in this regard is yad, meaning hand. Then you got, that's the arrow. Yadnu means our hand. All right? We see that in the book of Deuteronomy 32, by the way. All right? Yad, hand. Yadnu, our hand. All right? So what are we going to say? That the new sound at end, that is to say as a suffix, shows our in possession. All right? So yad, hand, yadnu, our hand. Like we say Eloheinu, our God. All right, so this is something we want to point out. Hebrew has a pattern. Hebrew has a flow. It's not just debauchery all over the place. Okay? Yad hand, yad nu, our hand. Okay? So, it's not saying our hands, it's just saying our hand. Still the noun shown as singular. All right, now. Yad, once again, this is the word we're going to keep harping on till we change it. All right? Okay, let's explain something. Yad means what?
Yad, hand.
Hand, right? You see the shawah join with that?
Okay.
See the shawah join with that?
King, king.
Now, that's yad or yed. Now, let me explain what I mean when I say that. All right?
Okay.
Brothers and sisters, you will see this written as yad kim or yed kim in the scriptures. The meaning is the same. All right? So, what does it mean? Yad means hand, yad kim means the hand of Yah, masculine plural. So what are we going to say, brothers and sisters? That when you have kim as the suffix, all right? Kim at in shows you or masculine plural. All right? So it means your hand. If I'm speaking to, let's say, the brother Hezekiah and the brother Josiah, and I say Yad Kim, I'm talking about saying to them literally your hand. When you say Elohim, you're speaking and saying the God of you all. All right? So this is what we want to show in that particular regard. All right? To showing the aspect of the possession. All right? Want to correct that. Shows your. Sorry about that. Masculine plural, showing the possession. All right? So, Yad Kem or Yed Kem. All right? The actual aspect of the suffix is over here. That stays the same. I put both down there because sometimes you'll see it as Yad or Yed in that particular case. So that's why I put that there. But the things that circled in the blue is the actual suffix showing a possession. As we went over, the possession in Hebrew is shown as in the suffix in dealing with the noun. All right? So this is something we want to point out for edification purposes. Okay. The next thing we want to deal with, all right? No dealing and picking on Yad, meaning what?
Yeah.
All right? You have Yad, Dam. No. Let's not do that yet. Sorry, class. Yad. All right? You have Yad meaning hand, Yad Ken, or Yad Ken, meaning what? We're going to say that Ken as at in, that is to say the suffix, all right, is your feminine plural. All right? So we can gain some understanding. Yad, Yad Ken. So if I was speaking to two or more females about their hand, singular, hand still being singular, though I'm speaking to more than one person, who in this case just happen to be females, if I were to say your hand, I would still say Yad Ken or Yed Ken. All right? So this is what we want to point out for reason and purposes. The suffix in this regard, all right, shows as stated, as always shown in Hebrew nouns, all right, is at the end of the word or as a suffix. This is something we run and emphasize, brothers and sisters, for edification purposes. Okay, so that way we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. All right? Now, next thing we want to go over, yes, the word Yadi Getting back to that means my hand. Yes, brother. All right. The next thing to get back to in that regard, brothers and sisters, is this. You have yad, once again, all right? Then you have, what I want to show going in order. Yadam, all right? Yad meaning hand, yadam means their hand, all right? When you're speaking masculine, plural, literally meaning their hand. All right? So what are we going to say in this regard? The masculine plural in possession. Right?
King.
You have, as stated, this right here. This shows the actual aspect with you're dealing with the quamat, with the mental feet. Remember last week, when we went over the suffixes, and I said mental feet is one of them? This is how it shows in that regard. All right. Now I circled both the dalet and the mem. So even though dalet is actually part of the noun itself, because I wanted to show how the sound itself shows itself in unification. Okay, so yad and yadam. Yadam means their hand. All right, so we're going to continue on, brothers and sisters, in this regard. And it says this. Yad, yadam. All right, so what we're going to say, this means their hand when speaking about the hand of two or more females. All right, so on, all right, at end shows their feminine, right? At end shows their masculine. So yad, hand, yadan, their hand. All right, so we can gain some understanding for edification purposes. We're going to do a slight mini review and then move on from that particular point. All right. So hopefully people are not feeling or thinking I'm going fast, because what you can do as we're redoing these, not trying to be offensive or funny or anything of that sort, is just pause it, stop, rewind it, hear it again, look at the minute and second at this thing or whatever thing you may have a question on is being asked, and then ask your question or so forth and so on in the comments, and it will be addressed. All right, so let's go over this particular case. The aspect of nouns in possession. P-O-S-S stands for possession. All right? They always show in the suffix. All right? It always shows, brothers and sisters, inside of the suffix of what we're dealing with and what we're talking about in that particular regard. So let's go over this again. So when you have the E as the suffix, and I put two E's to show the strength and the sound of it, all right, it's my or mine. All right? Then you have ka. All right? That's your or yours. All right? Then you have ache. That's your or yours. but that's feminine. All right? Then you have O, and that's his. You have ah, emphasizing that sound, and that's her. Now, if I were to just say O, that doesn't mean his. All right? I'm just saying when it shows as a suffix with nouns, this is what we're dealing with. E, my, ka, yours, ek, yours, feminine, O, his, ah, her, or hers. All right? So this is what we want to point out for evidence purposes and reasoning. Okay, so brothers, sisters, the next thing we want to sit there and go over, all right, in that particular regard is this. And it says the following. You have new, our. You have can, meaning your. NP is for masculine plural. Then you have can, meaning your, but that's feminine plural. FP stands for feminine plural. All right? Then you have meaning their, masculine plural. And then you have on, with the noun suffix, all right, as their feminine plural. So what are we dealing with, brothers and sisters? Nouns in possession always show in the suffix. New, our, tem, yours, can, your, feminine, their, on, their. Feminine plural, all right? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. Thus ends the review. Now, let's continue in what we were dealing with. Now, this is something I want to point out for edification purposes. You had it to where the word God, all right, is a masculine noun. All right, this is something we want to point out for reasoning purposes. Now, how do you identify a feminine noun? All right, let's look at this word right here. All right. This is the word, okay? Ritzpa. The word ritzpa means floor. Okay. Now, how we know this one actually is a feminine noun because it ends with the hey, and prior to the hey or previous to the hey, the letter is voweled or has a vowel as the quamats. So anytime you have a noun that has a quamats and then the next letter to it is a hey, brothers and sisters, that is a feminine noun. I want to emphasize again, when you have a noun that has a hey as the last letter, and it is previously dealt with or have any letter with a quamats, it makes it feminine. That's how you're able to identify a feminine noun. I emphasize noun, not word. Every word that ends with a hey and has that doesn't always make it feminine. But every noun that has that in Hebrew, that has the letter hey and previous to it is any letter, this just happens to be the letter pei, that has a quamats, is a feminine noun. As stated, nothing that's being said is said it is not important to be known. All right, so how do we identify, brothers and sisters, the feminine noun? All right, is this. Any noun having the last letter as a hey, following any letter with a quamat is a feminine noun. Okay, now that is something, once it's known, it becomes much, much, as stated. Feminine noun, ritz pa. Any noun having the last letter as a hey, as you see right here circled in the blue, H-E-H or H-A-Y, following any letter with a quamat is a feminine noun. I'm going to, brothers and sisters, write this again so it can be seen for edification purposes and no confusion. All right? Let's look at this right here. I'm going to put the vowels, pardon me, I'm going to put what identifies this as a feminine noun in the red so it can be seen. All right? What you're looking at, brothers and sisters, there, okay, in the red shows it to be the actual feminine aspect of that noun. Okay, so you got the shawar here, the karik there. Now, the other vowel that you see there written in the black, that's not the highlight or what is the most important concerning this kind of matter. So, as stated, any noun having the last letter as a head following any letter with a quamat is a feminine noun. See, it says following any letter, the hey. Oh. Yeah, the hey is following. The hey is after this. Okay, cool. All right. Any letter with a quamat is a feminine noun. So do you want that to be pointed out? I circled it here and I put it in red over there so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. All right. So the next thing, brothers and sisters, that we want to sit there and explain, old pa'am, is this. Let me write a couple more so we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about in the blue. Some more aspects. You have Torah. That is a feminine noun. All right? You have the word Homa, which means war. And that is a feminine noun. All right? You have the word Kul Za. That meaning blouse. And that is a feminine noun. All right? So we can gain some understanding of what we're dealing with and talking about. You have, for instance, the word Yal. Da. All right? That too, meaning girl, is a feminine noun. All right? You have the word Ora. Not used much, but it means like. And that too is a feminine noun. All right, so words like ritzpa, yalda, ora, mishpaka, meaning family. is also a feminine noun. All right. What we want to get into, brothers and sisters, in this presentation, this is being brought to you from the camp Shema Yisrael. All right. Why do I do that and say that? So it can be noted for edification purposes. One of the things, as we stated earlier, there is nobody being paid, or there is no one being paid, all right, on the side. Oh yeah, here's thank you for doing the Hebrew class. It's not happening. There's no exchange of kesef, which is silver, or mizuman, meaning bills.
King.
I do not get paid for doing these classes.
Okay.
All right. So this is something we want to point out. One of the things that I was told in regards to this, for more than one person, is we're doing something in regards to the Most High.
That's right.
I'm gonna ask the brother to sit there and read. Give me something in the scriptures, Aki. I'm gonna ask him to read Jeremiah chapter 48, verse 10, so we can gain an understanding of what we're talking about for edification purposes and reason. All right? King. Jeremiah 48, verse 10. Thank you, my brother.
No problem.
All right.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Cursed be he that
doeth
the work of Yah with a slack hand.
We want to point out for reason and purposes. We want to emphasize that we wanted to continue these classes. I apologize for the lack of them between the month of May and the month of September of this year, but as you see, we're going to continue on in that particular case. Questions or comments, do not hesitate to sit there as long as they are applied to the Hebrew class in this. We ask that you do not ask about the Hebrew class inside of the Torah portion or vice versa, because that teacher may not respond to that particular thing. All right?
Amen.
So only because he or she may not see it. We say she because in Israel, there is nothing wrong with a female, believe it or not, yes, there's nothing wrong with a female teaching in Israel.
That's right.
A lot of times some people may disagree with it, but not taking nothing away from Prince Paul being Prince or Chief Prince. It's not taking nothing away from L being Prince. It's not taking nothing away from any of the chief man status from Chief Nathaniel. It's not taking nothing away from myself as a Monet or a teacher. When you hear about Israelites talk about teachers in Hebrew, there is a female that is mentioned by many people in Israel. All right? So there's nothing wrong with that. And as you see Hebrew further along, you'll begin to see, know, and understand, brothers and sisters, that as we already went over, a feminine letter. Without it, you cannot get 7 of the verb stems, because 5 of them require the hey letter. You understand?
King.
In order for it to be shown for edification purpose, actually 6 of them. Because when we say words like Hishamir and Hishamru, that is the Nifal stem, but that begins and has the prefix of the letter Hey before the word Shamar inside of the Nifal stem. But we'll explain as we go along. But I'm just showing that you can't disrespect or annihilate or try to segregate or try to demote the position of the feminine aspect of Hebrew, because as we're going to show you, we're going to go over the aspect of the feminine nouns. And as a brother, as a man, as a chief, as a friend, and so forth, it ain't taking nothing away from you as a man with any title to sit there if a sister was doing the same thing. Do your role. You understand? So, I'll point out for evidence purposes. Now, we're going to go on in the aspect of this. Let's look at this here. Right? We have, as shown here, Ritzpah, floor, all right? Floor. Ritz, Okay, now we want to show the possession aspect in this. If you remember, we have it to where we went and showed last week. And tau. Hey and tau, that's just an arrow, okay, are feminine letters in Hebrew. So if ritzpah means floor, my floor will be this. Ritz. Pati. All right? Ritz pati means my floor. Okay, so let's understand what has happened, brothers and sisters. All right? The hey becomes tau when you're showing a possession of it inside of a feminine noun. As stated before, there is nothing that I'm stating in these classes on a board that's not important for edification purposes. Now, when you're showing the possession of it, hey becomes tau. So reach pa, which ends in the hey, as you see there, becomes tau. So it's not reach pa he to show that possession, it's reach pa ti. All right? So we want to go over that particular aspect. Okay, now, next we want to go over, brothers and sisters, to show what we're talking about is this. You have, I wanted to rewrite it, okay? It's pa T. What are we going to say concerning this? All right? Hey becomes, that the arrow means becomes, as far as I'm saying in that regard. Becomes a tie when showing P-O-S-S and showing possession in feminine F-E-M nouns. All right? So, let's look at this, brothers and sisters. Ritz parti. A-T. Okay? What else can we say, brothers and sisters, that A-T, my or mine? All right? When you're dealing with the aspect of showing possession in a feminine noun. Okay. All right? So, Ritz parti. So if the word, brothers and sisters, had been the word Torah, Ritz pa Torah. All right? As we can see, the Reisha de Kirik, with Torah, the tau is having a colon with the dot over the vowel next to it. All right? So the beginning sounds or vowels of the feminine noun doesn't emphasize or show the aspect as the ending or the suffix does. If we're saying Ritz pa means floor, Ritz pati means my floor. Okay. Sisters, we want to emphasize over and over the aspect, going to circle that and circle this. All right? It shows as before, the suffix shows the possession when you're dealing with nouns in Hebrew. This is important for Hebrew edification purposes. Do you know they don't even teach like this in colleges in Hebrew? Wow. You got, there are books who teach it, but you got to get grammar books that cost much less than the college books. And I'm not trying to knock on college. All I'm saying is this is what it is. And these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? Some people, like the family of the brother Chief Captain Hebron, remembers our biological mother when she was among us. The beautiful lady, one time sent my sister to Nostrand Avenue and Avenue D to the drugstore to buy a new belt in 1988 to spank my behind. because she said I was playing in regards to Hebrew. She gave me an old-fashioned butt spanking by holding the wrist of mine and saying that they're spanking my butt. Because I honestly wanted to go outside and play. And her response was, we have to learn this. So a mommy raising a son by herself, I think what happened, no disrespect intended, it's like, let's go ahead and get it. Oh, I got a solution. You understand? So these are things that happen in that particular regard. So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. So those who still have their mothers, respect them. You understand? If my mother can be here to whoop me again, I'll sit there and congratulate it. Understand? So I'm just not trying to play sentimental. Just want that to be noted for edification purposes.
Wait a minute.
Now, pati means what? My floor. Ati, when you're dealing with the feminine noun, all right, shows the hey becomes a towel. Okay, let's go over, brothers and sisters. This is showing the aspect. All right? Reach pa, we just picking that word just like we picked yah before. All right? Reach pa ti. What happened, brothers and sisters, is this. You had the hey became a tau, and then you add the suffix of the yod. Lesson 6 is important to remember what the suffixes are. Okay, so reach party. All right, so that's what happened in that particular regard. We're going to move on in this particular case. All right, so you have yet again, still dealing with the same noun, meaning floor. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. All right. Reach pot. Okay. Remembering what? The same rules. Don't change in Hebrew. Reach pa, floor. Reach pot, ka. Remembering the head becomes a towel. I want to say, and what can we get? All right? At, ka, at the end of a feminine noun, your. When speaking to a male. This paka, your floor. All right? At ka, your masculine, MS stands for masculine singular. Okay, so I want to show this yet again. It can be noted for edification purposes. All right? Let's look at this here. Leads pa, right? The hay becomes a towel. Remembering a couple of minutes ago, we said that hay and towel are feminine letters. So when you see ritpat, ka, last week we went over the suffixes, and kaso feet was one of them. Remember we said that kaso feet can take a kwamat? See, these lessons are connected with each other. All right, so we can gain some understanding. Ritpa, ritpat, ka, meaning your floor. All right? These are things we just want to point out for edification purposes. So, moving along, brothers and sisters.
Teach.
Once again, using our selected word. Well, all right. So you have reads, take. So what are we seeing right here? Reach palm in the floor. Reach. Remember the shawat still connects. The same rules still apply. Don't change. The pay with the kwamats, then the zere under the towel, and the shawat and the kasofi. Okay? So you have arit patek, which means your floor when you're speaking to a female. So if I go into my aunt's house and I say arit patek tahora, which means your floor is clean. Say arit patek yafa means your floor is pretty. That's for edification purposes. So here we have what? I take. All right? What would that mean and what would that get into? All right? At the end of feminine nouns shows feminine singular. All right? We want to point this out for edification purposes. So, reach pa floor. Reach pa take your floor when speaking to a female. Now, what you're seeing or about to see circled or squared off in this regard is how you identify that as a possession aspect of a feminine noun. All right? I take. Reach pa take. Okay? So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Okay, so moving along in this particular lesson and in this regard, okay? Okay, so you have, yet again, I'm going to dry that a little better. All right? You have the word as stated. So, what we have, brothers and sisters, brother, can you pass me another wet towel, please? All right? Dealing with the feminine nouns in possession. All right? We want to show how the pattern is. And as we stated, this is called what? The aspect of reading in nouns. Once you're able to explain that, you are, it's still under being a reader. So there's nothing wrong with that. Being a reader, because we are learning Hebrew much later on in our lives, after being a teenager in most cases, we learn how to read it first and then speak it, as opposed to a baby just learning how to speak any language, knows how to speak it before reading it. So it seems a little in reverse, but that's just something that we're going to show in this particular regard. All right? So you have, as stated, all right, the word this is not drying completely. I'm going to have to really dry this board. Sorry, class. Sorry, class. Give it a thorough drying. Okay, let's look at this here. The word ritzpah, yet again, all right? Meaning what? Still, floor. When you have it, remembering that the hey transforms to ta, you have it as such, all right? So let's show this, brothers and sisters. The hey transforms to a ta. And this particular word says ritz pato. Ritz pato means his floor. So if I were to talk to, just making up a person, an aunt, uncle, what have you, about my brother's floor, just saying that, I would say ritz pato yafa, meaning his floor is pretty. All right, ritz pato tahora, his floor is clean. So we want that to be noted for edification purposes. Shh, that's grammar. Because rispa is feminine. So yafa meaning pretty. Tahora meaning clean or pure. It follows that same kind of pattern. So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about, brothers and sisters. All right? So what can we say concerning that? Have the sound as ato, all right, means what? His, whatever the thing is, at the end of a noun that's feminine. Okay, so if the word been Torah, his law would then be said as Torah to. Torah law, Torah to his law, Rizpah floor, Rizpato his floor. So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in that particular regard. All right. So as we went over last week, the vowel serves also as a suffix. All right. So that lesson is important for this lesson. And if you study, brothers and sisters, and elders included, from lesson 1 to lesson 4, you will begin to sit back and see how that operates. All right? Pa, once again, that's the same word we're going to keep picking on for this. Then you have Ritz Pata. All right? Ritz Pata. So, I want to sit there, brothers and sisters, and emphasize with this diagram within the hay, If you remember when we read the word yada, meaning what? Her hand. Well, ritpa means floor. Ritpata, her floor. Her floor. So if I was talking to a male or female cousin about my aunt's floor, I would say what? Ritpata tahora. Ritpata yafa. All right? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. Okay? Words like yafa is an adjective. It follows the noun. This is a feminine noun. Studying the aspect of how Hebrew works. Once you get into this, I'm telling you the pattern, brothers and sisters, glory to the Most High, you'll begin to see how it flows. So what can we say concerning this? Is when you have ta, the end of a feminine noun, it is her. Whatever. Her floor, her lore, her hat. Whatever your aspect in which you're talking in that regard. All right? Rizpa, floor. Rizpata, her floor. So we can gain some understanding, brothers and sisters, in that particular regard. Okay. Next, we want to sit back and explain something yet again. Look, if you will, once more time, the hay becomes a towel. All right? We want to, because it's not ritzpaha, it's ritzpata. The towel comes in to play. Only when you're transforming it and showing the possession of it. Also, brothers and sisters, when you see ata here, this is not saying ata as in you are masculine singular. Yeah, all right? So it's just showing it as the aspect of her because it's at the end of a feminine noun. All right? So these are things we want to point out for edification purposes. All right? Let's go on into the next thing so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. We have ritz, pa, right? Then ritz, pata. Ritz, pata. No, I already did ritz, pata. Sorry. Sorry, class. We have ritz, pat, nu. All right? First off, glory to Yah. Ritz, pa, floor. Ritz, pat, nu. Our floor. Now, showing the pattern yet again, the hay becomes a towel when showing the possession of it. Now, I want to circle this aspect right here with the noun and the wow, because that's the suffix and the aspect of nu. Torat nu, our Lord. Ritpat nu, our floor. So what can we say concerning this? Nu, pardon me. I want to change that. Because it's not, brothers and sisters. It's at nu. At nu. At the end, that is to say the suffix, all right, of a feminine noun equals our, whatever it is. Toratnu, komatnu, our wall, ritpatnu yafa means what? Our floor is pretty. We want to emphasize this for reason and purposes, brothers and sisters, on how the actual language works in this regard. All right? I want to give thanks to Yah Eloheinu. the Most High. For men such as Kohen Mikael, who took time out Tuesday after Tuesday after Tuesday after Tuesday, and what they call the Kita Sika class, all right, which means class of conversation. The Hebrew classes we have here in Shema Israel is called Ibrit Kwala. I want to emphasize that. I should have emphasized that last night at the Shabbat, or should I say after Shabbat. But the Hebrew classes in Shema Israel, giving thanks to the Most High, me being the instructor in it, will be called Ibrit Kwala, which means what? Hebrew is easy. Because anytime, oh, it's difficult, though, it's hard. No, you already done defeated yourself in that particular case. All right? There was a young baby, and all babies, and I'm sure it happened to me when I was a baby. He was walking inside the camp. And when I say, Brother Josiah, that he fell. I mean, hard, straight, like, BAM! This is some months ago. And that baby got up. He's still a baby to this day. Yeah, this ain't years and years ago. This is months ago. That baby got up and kept on running after Shabbat like nothing happened. He wasn't hurt or nothing. Point is this. If a baby doesn't even respect the fact that he fell and kept on running as he was running before, and then have to be told by his parents, you see, you just fell, that should tell you to stop running. Point is this, the baby was determined until commanded to stop. The fall did not make the baby stop running. The father of the baby saying, didn't you just see yourself fall? Oh yeah, I did fail. That should tell you something. It was the commandment. It was the commandment from the baby's father that made him want to just start walking or sit down with the other children. Had his father not said to his son, didn't you just fall? That baby would have kept on running until further notice. So why do you have adults that sit there and trick themselves and make themselves fall and then say, well, we really can't? No. Brothers and sisters, we can't sit there, and I don't mean to sound competitive, you cannot sit there and have a baby outshine you. The father of the baby who holds authority over the little boy is the one who told his son, stop running, you done seen yourself fall already. The baby did not acknowledge his fall. The baby was determined, I'm going to keep running because I want to sit there and get this accomplished. But once it comes to some adults, you got it to where ain't no one got to tell you to fall because you want to make yourself fall because you told yourself I can't do it. That's the problem, Israel. You understand? Stop having the defeatist attitude. This is why, taking it back when I was a child in Ben Yadat, 2 weeks ago when we did a Hebrew lesson number 5, may he rest in peace. It was the elder Don Aharon in Ben Yadat that said to me in 1991, no, English was off. We are the Hebrews. We're going to learn our language. This is something that made me get over the fear of learning the language. Can I learn it? Can it help me? What's the profit in it? You know, those kind of things. Yeah. So you have that spirit, then you can change that spirit. All right? So now, getting back into this. What can we say? Aknu at the end of a feminine noun makes it our whatever. Toratnu, komatnu, ritpatnu. All right? We want to emphasize that as a particular point. Okay. Next thing, brothers and sisters, is this. Going over the same noun, all right? Ritzpa meaning floor, floor, all right? You have Ritz, pot, ken. Ken with a pencil. Sorry about that. So you have Ritzpa, ken. So you have the Kirig, Shua, Patak, Karmi Pamat, Ritzpat, ken. What can we say of this here? When you have at, ken, right, equals your masculine plural at the end of a feminine noun. There's not a word in here that's not important. Oh, it's just a noun, no, feminine noun. All right? So we want that to be pointed out. Ritpa, ritpat, ken. So let's look at this, brothers and sisters. You have the suffix here and the actual vowel change and letter change here. Remember, hey transforms to the tau, as we see there. This is all important, brothers and sisters. Ritpa, ritpat, ken. Ritpat, ken. Ritpat, ken. Repeat after me. Ritpat,
Ken.
ritpat,
Ken.
ritpat,
Ritpat.
ken. Ritpat,
Ritpat.
ken.
Ken.
Ritpa,
Ritpat.
meaning floor.
Floor.
Ritpat, ken, your floor. So if I were to talk to, let's say, the brother Hezekiah, the brother Josiah, about a floor in their house, so I'm just using that as an example. I would say, Ritpat ken tahora, your floor is clean. All right, tahora means clean. All right, when you're speaking in the aspect of this. Got it. Tahora. All right, so just want that to be pointed out for reasoning and edification purposes. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're dealing with and what we're talking about in that particular regard. Now, getting back to the aspect of this. At ken, your masculine plural, at the end of a feminine noun. So that serves, brothers and sisters, as we stated before, the aspect of the suffix. This is why last week I tried to make sure, glory to Yah, that we get the aspect of what are the suffixes and what are the prefixes in Hebrew, because that becomes important. All right, so let's get into this particular aspect and continuing on. All right, you have, I want to emphasize something too. When people told me off camera, right, well, it's easy for you because you know it. No, it's easy because it's easy. I know it because I studied it.
That's right.
So, okay, so we're going to continue on in this regard. All right. These pots can. All right. Now, may seem redundant, but we're doing this. The hey, our friend, turns into a towel. That doesn't change. All right. When you're dealing in these particular aspects of nouns, when the noun is a feminine word. So what can we say? You have at, can, meaning or equals, okay, your feminine plural at the end of feminine nouns. That is important. If you can't read the writing, you can hear my voice. If you can't hear my voice, you can read the writing. All right? So let's that be noted for reasoning purposes. Okay. Ritpa, ken. Okay. Let me circle the distinction in this. Right? And this is the actual suffix. Right? Ken. The kaf and the noun Sophie. If I were to sit there and say, brothers and sisters, and elders included, right, that ritpat ken, ritpat ken, at ken, ritpat ken, at ken, your feminine plural. So if I were to talk to my aunt and her sister, just picking people random, both of them being females. If I were to sit there and say, I would say, Rit Pat Ken Yafa. Rit Pat Ken Tahora. Now you already should know by now the word Tahora means clean. All right? Tahora, not Torah.
Tahora.
All right? Torah is law. Tahora means clean. All right? So, just to emphasize, you have Torah, then you have, with a tet, Tehorah. But actuality, the Torah is Tahora. The Torah is clean. All right? So, want that to be noted for edification purposes.
Wow.
That should be the name of a Torah class. Torah Tahora. I don't know, just a thought. But anyway, so you have Rit Pat Ken. All right? Your floor, if you're speaking to two or more females about their floor. Okay, so let's continue and close out. All right? So these are things we want to point so we can gain understanding of what we're talking about. Once again, dealing with our friend, Ritz Pa. All right?
Pa.
Meaning what?
Clean.
Ritz Pa means floor.
Floor.
All right? So you have Ritz Pat Tam. Right. Now, once again, hey, transform the top. All right? The other thing is this. Ritz Patam. So what can we say this about this? You have a Tom equals or means, okay? Their masculine plural at the end or the suffix of feminine nouns. Patam. Okay, so if I were to talk to Josiah about brother Yashar and brother Yishmael's just picking names at random, right?
Okay.
If I were to say, I would say Rit Patam Tehora, which means their floor is clean. Just using that as an example. All right? Just want that to be noted for edification purposes. All right? The Hebrew word for example is the word mashal. I was asked, how do you say example? In Hebrew is the word mashal. All right? That is spelled as mem, sheen, and lamed. All right? That's actually seen in the book of Deuteronomy 28. All right? So, in the Hebrew, so we can gain some understanding. So, once again, ritpa, floor. Ritpatam means what? Their floor. All right?
Okay.
Their floor. Okay. I want to sit there and circle. Here, if you're following along already, how do we identify it as such? Atam. Under the pay is a kwamat, which makes the ah sound. Atam. That's how you identify it, and showing it as a suffix in that particular regard. Okay? So, let's move on. We have, brothers and sisters, once again, the word ritpa, right? Then you have Ritzpatan, which means their floor when speaking about females. Like I got 3 sisters, right? If I were to talk to Josiah or anyone else, and I would sit, I'll say, Ritzpatan Yafa, their floor is pretty. Ritzpatan Tehora, their floor is clean. All right? So if I were to say, what sentence are you trying to say, brother, in English?
The sisters' floor is clean.
The sisters, yeah. That will be.
Or my sisters.
Okay, the sisters and my sisters are 2 different things. So my sisters in Hebrew is achyotai. So achyotai means my sisters. Okay. Akoti is my sister. Achyotai means my sisters. So if I were to say my sister's floor is pretty, I would say Ritpat achyotai tehora. Ritpa floor. Ritpat with the T sound or the tau at the end of it. Ritpat. That's why we said tau is also part of the suffix list. Ritpa floor. Ritpat floor of. Ritpat achyotai tahora, which means literally in English, my sister's plural, the sisters are plural, floor is clean. The floor is singular, so therefore tahora has to then match grammatically with what I'm talking about. That's how that works in Hebrew. All right? So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Thank you for that, my brother. So, what we're dealing with is this. Time. All right? Atan, brothers, sisters, what can we say? Atan means or equals at the end of a feminine noun, at the end of feminine noun, right?
Okay.
Is their feminine plural, whatever it is. All right? Or feminine, showing possession. All right? The floor is still singular. All right? So there is plural. Speaking, I'm talking about in more than one person's floor, but their floor itself is actually one floor. Okay, so all right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Ritpatan. Okay, so we're going to do a slight review and then close out. So, getting into this, all right? Noun, feminine aspect. In P-O-S-S, there's possession or means possession. All right? So, you have ritpati, a-ti, ritpatka, at-ka, ritpatek, a-take, ritpato, a-to, ritpata, a-ta. All right? My, your, feminine, his, her. Ritpati, ati. Ritpata, atka. Ritpatek, atek. Ritpato, ato. Ritpata, ata, her. That's how that works in that particular regard. All right, so we can gain some understanding. These are all the aspects of the suffixes, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. All right, so we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. Next, we got what? At, nu, at, Kim, at, Ken, at, Tom, and at, Tom. Meaning what? You have our, your, masculine plural when you're speaking to more than one male about their thing. Your, female plural. Their, masculine. Theirs, feminine. So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about. All right? New hours or hour. Okay? Rit pak nu our floor. Rit pak ken, rit pak ken. Rit pak tam, rit pak tam. Had this been the word Torah, it would have been Torah nu, Torah ken, Torah ken, Torah tam, Torah kan. That is part of the Hebrew lesson. Now, if there's any questions, feel free to ask them inside of the comment board, all right? So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about in this particular aspect. Now, brothers and sisters, I want to sit there and go over another particular thing real quick. Let's look at this here. Ritz, pato, right? Do you realize you have 4 vowels in that? The kirit, the shawab, the patak, and the kolam. All right? Ritz. All right? To. Ritz. This happened to be a pay there, but I just want to emphasize that. To. To. All right? So we can gain some understanding of what we're talking about for edification purposes. The next thing, brothers and sisters, we want to get into is this. Rit pata, her floor. All right? Then we have the word tehora as we use. All right? Rit pata, tehora. Her floor is clean. Clean and pure are adjectives. So what are we going to say in closing out? That the adjective, all right, follows the noun in Hebrew. The verb can be before and after, but that's a whole nother lesson. But I just want to go over that for edification purposes. Ritpata tahora. Her floor is clean. If I were to say ritpato means his floor, I would still say tahora. Right? Now, if we already remember, when you have this and this being an adjective, right? Agrees with the noun. Okay. Ritpato tahora means his floor is clean. Though you're speaking about what belongs to a male, the root of that is a feminine word, which happens to just be the word ritpa. Ritpato, the floor of his floor. Tahora, adjective agrees with the noun. So if I were to say this, brothers and sisters, all right? Ritpa. Ritpa tahora, which means a clean floor. Floor, clean. A clean, the word a is already understood in Hebrew. Ritpa tahora, a clean floor. Ritpato tahora, his floor is clean. Just like a, so is understood. A and is and are understood. I want to write that down. A is and equals understood in Hebrew, or is understood. That's what the equal stands for. There is no settled word for an a or is or and in Hebrew. All right, so let that be noted. I want to put an asterisk right here. Remember that when we get to lesson 10. Now, getting back to this point right here, when it says ritpato means what? His floor tahora. The adjective agrees with the noun. Also in Hebrew, the adjective follows the noun. So we want that to be pointed out. Whether you're talking about the floor that belongs to a male or the floor that belongs to a female, you still say the adjective as tahora. We're not using the word meluk laka, meaning dirty, because we want to keep it clean. Okay, we're not going to say somebody's floor is dirty. That's just disrespectful. Okay, so we want to say ritpato tahora, ritpata tahora, tahora, tahora. Why? Because the adjective agrees with the aspect of the noun. This is what we want to point out for reasoning purposes. The word floor, not floors. We didn't get to her floors, my floors. That's for another time. What we're going to do right now is close out, giving honor and praise unto the Creator and the Maker of heaven and earth. All right? For those interested, you can get this book here. The Torah comes from the culture Tameri, available on Amazon. All right? For those interested, you can get this book here. Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68, the condition of the blacks. Has a lot of Hebrew in it as well. For those interested, Old Testament, Hebrews respond, as we did last night. So you're not going to keep on trying to take shots at so-called, what you call us non-messianics, and expect nobody to ever say anything. Yehovah Elohim ain't old. There is none besides Yah Elohim Israel. So with that, Master Brother Josiah to close out, then say a prayer myself, then we'll conclude. La Yom Tov.
Hallelujah.
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 Oh yeah, Torah Elohim for Dom More Yeshaya, even for blessing us now with the Hebrew aspect. Yeah. Yeah, Torah for Kai. Baruch Yisrael Elohim. Baruch me, O Yoshiyahu Ben Lewi, as Asha'al Da Ka Kama We Banat. Elohim of Abraham, Yitzchak, we Yaakov, for Emet, Isha, Yah, Baruch, Shema, Yisrael, me even, the Talamid, Baruch Yisrael forever, Yah Elohim, Torah Yah, Hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
praise the mighty Yah,
Praise the mighty Yah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah,
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah,
Torah Rabbah, Yehovah Eloheinu. Kiatahu Shatani, the Yom Morepo. Torah Yah, for even said of me, even as a More here. Torah Rabbah, Yehovah Elohim Israel. Kiata Natata, Lamachane Shema Israel. Talmidim Umorim, Wagam King. Nisi'im, Wagam King Nisiko, Wagam King Sequani, Wagam King Sequano. Yehovah Eloheinu. Torah Rabbah, Lachayenu. Thank you for our lives. Torah Rabbah, Yehovah Elohim Israel. But even for this lesson, Tanameh, it Lashonenu. Teach us our language. Babakusha, Yah Elohim, Yaakov. Tanameh, Otanu. It's a fact, you. Even our tongue, even our speech, O Holy One of Israel. Tanameh, Otanu, et Dibur, Nu. Babakusha. Yehovah Eloheinu, even teach us our speech. Kiata el in kimoka, in shawek laka, in etzlaka, b'shemayim, or ba'aret, in dabar, b'shawek laka. Hallelujah.
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 Amen. Amen.
Amen.
Okay. We're gonna close out. Told out for the time, brothers and sisters and elders. Shalom.